Welcome to Shooting the Shift with Marilyn and Elizabeth. These light warriors, both native New Yorkers, walk their walk, talk their talk, and keep the real in the deal. This dynamic duo joined forces to assist you through your transformational journey one step at a time, empowering you with spiritual tools you can use in your daily life. Each show begins as a conversation creating an opening for spiritual connection. There are never any scripts, and Spirit is always illuminating the way. And that's when the shift hits the fan. The magical messages of the ancestors, spirit guides, and Gaia are respected, honored, and always given sacred space to communicate. Join Marilyn and Elizabeth as they shake shift up and do what they do best, speak from their hearts.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Shooting the Shift with Marilyn and Elizabeth. And I just want to say, boy, those girls really sound like they know what they're talking about. I love our intro so much. So today, Marilyn and I are going to be talking about the gift of giving. And we're going to be talking everything about allowing yourself to give from your heart. And Marilyn, you got something to say there, girl?
Mute.
Zoom. Okay, darling. So say hello to everybody.
Good morning. So glad to be back, right?
Yes, we're having a little bit of a wonky day. I think everybody's having a little bit of a wonky day. We are pre-recording this show, which is going to be airing on the 15th of December, but I'm going to be out of town and running around and running away from home, and I'm really excited. So Marilyn and I are meeting early for this show, and it is the very first morning after the Taurus full moon eclipse. So we both noticed this morning that there's been a lot of energy that's been kind of whirly-burly and new frequencies coming in. But what I really wanted to talk about is that this is just the beginning of a Taurus Scorpio eclipse season that's going to last actually 18 months. So this is going to be affecting us for a year and a half moving forward. And the one thing that I would love to get out there about the underlying currents for everybody, because it depends on your transits, where your sun sign is, your rising, all of this affects us as far as what house it is affecting us personally. But globally, it's affecting quality over quantity and our value and worth. And a small analogy would be like buying a dresser at IKEA that will last a few years. Or instead, you buy a beautiful antique or something of good quality that was handmade, rich in dark mahogany, something that is rich and has depth. And the worth and value of an heirloom that could be handed down to your family because it's treasured and the substance is valued through the ages and the eras. So it's really about finding the substance and the richness and the things that are really important, and the other stuff is really not essential. And that's kind of the underlying theme in all of our lives for the next 18 months moving forward. In one way or another, it's going to play out. And today we're talking about the gift of giving. And the tentacles, I love the word tentacles, because there's so far reaching and so many. And, I have a spirit animal named Octavia that I do spirit artwork with. And, the gift of giving is so much far reaching than we'll ever know when we give to other people. And so we're going to talk about that. It's the season of giving, but really, honestly, I think giving all year round is really, where we are in our reality. Marilyn, wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, definitely, right? Giving from the heart place, right? That's always important year round. And not feeling obligated to give, if it's not heartfelt, right? Because that's really important too. Being grateful having the gratitude and, the generosity of giving, but it doesn't always have to be, how would you say, it doesn't have to be like anything that you even spend money on, right? It could just be giving your time, giving your energy, just doing beautiful things for someone. And sometimes you can even do it anonymously and, because it doesn't really matter, right? It's just a matter of how good does it feel when you give, right? When you give to another.
Yeah, and giving is never about what you give. It's about how it makes you feel to give and how it makes someone feel to receive. I mean, we all want to feel like we matter and that we're special. And sometimes it can be the smallest, tiniest of little things that you don't know how much it's going to be appreciated and how long it's going to be appreciated.
Yeah, it could
And
even be a
sometimes,
statement, right? It could be
yeah,
a statement, like
or
somebody
even
just
a
saying,
smile,
yes, a smile
a
is always
kindness.
welcomed. Yeah.
A kindness. My mom always said, never give anything away that you expect back, be it a
Yes.
loan, be it a gift. If somebody asks you, and I think that is one of the most important lessons she ever taught me as a young girl. I got to witness her. She had a restaurant around the corner in Greenwich Village with soups and sandwiches, and she had a table in her restaurant. She fed every Vietnam vet that came in that needed a bowl of soup or a meal. And she always told me, never ever give something away if you expect it back. If it's money,
Yes.
whatever it is, because that sets up the wrong the wrong incentive there. It's just the wrong thing. You can never give up something you're not willing to give. And even with the caveat that you may not get it back. So I've been thinking a lot, Marilyn, about I have tons of suggestions about how to give to people and little things and big things, but I wanted to share, something really big that happened to me, and I want to share that because I think
Okay.
it's something that affected me and really changed opened my heart up to see how much giving can help somebody because I was the beneficiary of someone's kindness. So it will remain nameless, but I have a mentor that gifted me a mentorship, which is extremely generous because they believed in me. And after my bankruptcy and losing my artist-owned business at 25 years, I really didn't know what I was doing, how I was moving forward. I just knew that my mediumship was opening up and other gifts I had. And this person believed in me. And the extraordinary gift that they gave me was more than just a mentorship. It was the belief in my ability that I was worthy of their time
Yeah.
and that they could see the promise in me that it was worthwhile for
Yeah.
them to invest in me. And can I tell you, I have chills all over my body right now. I First of all, they want a fan for life, of course. I go around singing their praises wherever I can. But it made me want to be a better goddess counselor, a better spiritual pizza pie, a better medium, a better person all the way around, and to give back and to do promo work when I can, when I can help someone that can't afford it and I know they
Right.
really need it. So that's like a real biggie. That was a real biggie in my life. And I'm so grateful for that. And then, of course, there's been many ones on the way. So the other day, I had somebody actually buy my Starbucks in front of me. That's never happened to me before. And you hear pay it forward,
Yeah.
put money in
Yeah.
someone's meter. But when it happens to you, like, yeah, great idea. But when somebody did that for me, I was like, that made my whole day. I drove out of that Starbucks and I was beaming. And it wasn't about the money, it was wow. Wow, what an unexpected little gift, you know?
Yes. Yes.
So making someone's day can be the best feeling you'll ever have. That's the
Yeah.
truth.
Really, because if just think about your experience, right? I mean, I've had many of those as well, and it feels so good, right? It's almost like validation when you are needing it, right? Or it's that beautiful gift of the opening of, oh my goodness, somebody sees me. Isn't that amazing? And it feels really good. And then that you're able to do that for others, because for me, it has always been that situation where I have always felt that, since and I say the word allow because I really held myself back a lot. But when I allowed myself to be open and to do this beautiful work, I did so much. How would I say? It's free work, right? And it felt so good to me because everybody was receiving such amazing experiences, but so was I. Like I was being filled as well. So I was also receiving as I was giving. And it felt so good that it's almost like you feel like you're getting high on it, right? Because it's just such a good feeling internally to be able to see someone shifting and open to so many more possibilities, from that very session, or even at times when you're giving praises to someone, or when you see someone, and there would be moments when I would be walking in the street and I would feel like say something to this person, like oh, you look so beautiful today, or like, oh, what a beautiful smile. And then just you keep walking, but you just say that because, and it took me a while to really listen to that, because sometimes I would be like, how's a person going to respond to me, but when I started doing it, I would get such I needed that, like, oh, thank you so much, and you could see almost like the shift in their face, it would go from a kind of like, I don't know, sometimes I would feel like, oh, that person just needs a pick me up. They just need to feel better about themselves. And they're walking in this doom and gloom, and you just would say something and all of a sudden you could see them uplifted. It's almost like they shifted something in them, and that would always make me feel good. Still does, right? I still love to do these things. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, and also like some people you can be really, give them a smile, do all that, and they're so shut down. They look at you like you're a crazy person, and that's okay. Because what you're doing is you're still giving them a gift. If you don't personalize it and feel rejected, which really has nothing to do with you, right? But if their reaction is like that, it is the gift of knowing that it actually does exist.
Yeah.
Because probably that person hasn't had very much of that. Yeah.
Yeah, but just think about the seed that you planted. Yep, even if they didn't respond to it, there's still that part that hurt it. There's a part that hurt it that can sit with it. So that if somebody else says it, then it's going to be like, oh, okay, I'm going to get tuned in now. And somebody else says it, maybe by the third or the fourth person, right? It starts to feel real and it starts to feel good. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's like, let's plant those seeds. Right. And just, with no, how would I say, with no needed outcome. Right. Because we don't need to see the outcome. We just need to just plant that seed and just keep on going. Right.
Yeah. But I think that every bit you give is a ripple effect, and that frequencies go out into the world, every little tiny little bit, every ripple. Yeah. And I truly believe every time you rise up and take the high road, every time you come from a place of grace or compassion or kindness, I think our world is very fragile right now. There's a lot of people that are divided. There's a lot of people that maybe their home life isn't so pleasant, and they are in fight or flight, or they are having to defend themselves. And that may be why you don't get a reaction from someone when you dispose a smile or a kindness on them. But it's like that pond, that quiet pond. You throw that ripple on and that stone, and that it ripples out. And no act, no matter how tiny, it's a frequency. And it goes out there. And
you made me think
about money. Yeah.
You made me think about when you said the smile, right? During COVID, I think that was a really difficult thing for me, because I walk with a constant smile on my face, where it's almost like, what is she doing? What's going on with her? Because I really like to walk around with that smile and get another smile. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just get that. Sometimes what happens is that, especially what I notice is that when I had the mask off and the kids would be like, with that big smile, like, or saying something out loud, because it's like this, oh my God, I can see, the facial expression of another.
The artist in me, the creative soul in me wants to have like the little panel that you can flip the sign in front of your mask, or flip your mask down so you've got a smile or a mean face, So like you can change it, because nobody can see each other smiling with the mask.
Yeah, so I would go smile with your eyes. I would go smile with your eyes. Learn to smile with your eyes.
And I found myself saying quite a bit actually in stores and interactions. I'm like, you can't see me, but I'm smiling. I would say that to people, and usually people would laugh about it. For the most part.
Yeah.
So, wow. Okay, I have so much to share about this topic, and I did try and personalize a little bit, so I had some, heartfelt stories of my own, because I think when we share our experiences about giving and or receiving and the surprises around that, it just, depth gives the conversation a deeper content for me. So we're going to go off to our very first break, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the gift of giving, paying it forward, and some experiences around that. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Wonderful.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Okay.
Welcome back to Shooting the Shift with Marilyn and Elizabeth. Now, I can't go a show. I had one of my friends or listeners from my old radio show send me a message going, I love your New York accent. So, the first thing I'm like, I still have an accent, but I know I do. Whenever I say tomorrow or yesterday is like a New York word for me. Yesterday, I sound like a New Yorker. But I got to say, I'm going to say this as a native New Yorker. It's in our intro. Me and Marilyn are both New Yorkers. Look, New Yorkers can be a pain in the ass. They can say the real and the deal. They are very real and raw. But they're also the best, generous people, and in my opinion, the best tippers, and they can give back. There's something about that New York flavor that I feel like the rest of the world could, we could grow on that a little bit. I grew up in the restaurant business, and in a lot of people I know worked in service, and we always left good tips. That's just the way it works. You give back, right? You get what you give, but you don't give to get, right?
Right.
So I just wanted to throw that out there because, my mother was one of the best tippers, and so was my stepdad. He worked in the service ice machine industry for restaurants, but wherever we went, I would always see them give back. And I think when you don't grow up with that mentality as much, it's hard to know. It's hard to know. Some people may feel a little awkward about giving. They feel uncomfortable. And part of it is just not having the experience of doing that. And so I don't know. I just feel like there's sometimes I've shown people, oh yeah, you got to give more money than that. You gotta show a little more love than that. And I say it in a very loving way. But I have educated a lot of people who've never worked a day in their life in service business. And so I kind of feel like maybe that's part of my helping to give, the keeping the giving going, right? The other thing I wanted to talk about was, we all need a godmother or a Gilda the Good Witch. And you could do that anonymously. I mean, you could play a game with yourself and just secretly give something back. It doesn't have to be a giant gift. It's not about the monetary stuff. It's about how you make someone feel. And one of my favorite quotes is Maya Angelou, which I know you've probably heard this a million times. But at the end of the day, people won't remember what you said or did. They will remember how you made them feel.
Yes.
And I have very few memories of my childhood, and the ones that I do are pretty darn good. And it's because that I remember how someone made me feel because of an extraordinary kindness, be it small or huge. I will never forget how I felt about that. And that's when I think about giving, the heart space, the gratitude. I think it's essential.
I saw that with my parents, my father was always a giver. Like, he would give you the shirt off his back if he felt you needed it. He didn't never even questioned how he was, it was just like, that was him. And no matter what, no matter how much money he had in his pocket, he would give you what it was that he felt, that you needed. He wouldn't back down and say, "Oh no, it's not enough." And I think that in hindsight, he probably always felt that it was just never going to be, that he was never going to have enough, right? Because if he would give, then life is good, right? But the other thing, my mother would every year, in memory of my daughter, she would buy gifts, right, for the Three Kings, which is January the 6th. And every child in the building, even the child that was just born, yesterday, she would always have a gift for them. And it was so exciting, because the kids would always be like, it's January 6th, and they knew my mom was coming around to give them their gifts, and they would be the happiest little, they were just so excited over it. And I would watch that, and I would see how beautiful is that, to see that smile or that laughter or that thank you, from these children. It filled my heart when I would see my mom doing that. So I'll always remember, that. She was a very giving, loving person as well. So then I look and I say, but of course I'm a giver. And I had to learn, though, to maybe, that giving was good and it's important, but also to give to myself as well, and not to overgive, because sometimes we can overextend, right? And then we can deplete our energy. And that's another thing that's important of this topic of giving, right? Because sometimes we have to be able to balance, right? It's the yin and the yang. So we need to balance that energy of the giving, right?
Yes.
And the receiving. Otherwise, there's an imbalance in our body. And that imbalance then creates a lot of other stuff, which we're really not wanting. So we could be doing, like I usually show people by moving my right hand, forward, because I'm giving. And then there's nothing. And I tell people, watch my left side, right? What is my left side doing? It's stagnant. It's not moving. So there's this too much of the giving and not enough of the receiving. And not that I'm giving to receive, but when there is an imbalance, when I am it that gives, and doesn't allow for the receiving. And the other thing is, we have to allow for the receiving, because sometimes people are more than willing to give us, and we are not accepting that. And that's another thing, because I connect that with, and I got an aha moment, one time when I was doing sessions, and this woman says to me, well, I want to give you this. And I was like, oh, no. And
Why?
the
Because it
message
was
that
too
came
much?
through.
Is that what you
Yeah,
were
because
saying?
I
No,
felt
no, no.
like it wasn't, I just felt like, oh, no. And so what happened was, and it happened so quickly, because I go like this, oh, Marilyn, you manifest quickly sometimes, right? So quickly, I was, I was on a beautiful road with the people, moving through. And then what happened is that all of a sudden, when I said, no, the message that I received was, you're telling the universe that you are not wanting, right? That you are not wanting this. This is a gift that's being given to you. And you're saying, this is too much. I don't want, I'm not ready. I'm not going to receive this. And when you do that, then that means that the message you sent to the universe is, don't send me anymore, because I'm not ready to accept any more of this. Right. So
you're not in
close that
receiving.
down. Yes.
So and it has to be reciprocal. This is a whole nother show, but I do feel like, there's so many light warriors and so many people that work with people that don't charge for their services or don't charge enough for their services. And it's not just about the money. I mean, I have to feed my 24 paws. I have to pay for my gas. We all need to do that. And if we're not allowing ourselves to receive, there's a break in that chain. It's got to be reciprocal. Even when I do pro bono work with some people and I try and support them, there's always a give back from them. Even if it's their effort of showing up and doing the work, at least it's reciprocal.
Yeah.
I do want to say one thing of what you were talking about giving to yourself, because that was one of my little heartwarming stories. When I was a young girl, I saved up all my money, and it seemed like forever. I think I had a $2 allowance, and I just saved up my money week after week. And my mother went with me, and I walked myself to this store on Bleecker Street, and I walked in there, and I bought my own beautiful set of magic markers. And the sense of pride that I had for those markers when I brought them home, it wasn't just that I could create beautiful things and play and color. It was a sense of pride that I had in myself, that I had saved all my pennies for a really long time. It felt like an eternity for a kid. And that I had the discipline and knew my worth and value enough that this would bring me joy, that I was going to do that for myself. And the sense of pride that I got from that. So sometimes it's really important that if we want something that we really like, even if it's a little out of our ballpark, or if you think, oh, I'm not special enough for that, you have to think, where does that come from?
Yes.
Why am I thinking that? I can have a jar, and even if it's a quarter a week and you build up, it's nice to have those little goals and to give back to self. Again, it has to be that loop where you allow and receive and give to yourself too. Otherwise, there's a disconnect. And I think that's so important what you said about that.
And it's important to recognize too. Like, I think when you're saying that, I'm thinking, the greatest gift that you could give another person is to be present when you are with them. Because what I notice in these times, what I notice is everybody's on their phone. You're talking to people and they're on their phone. You're having a conversation around a table and they're on their phone.
Even you and me, before we started this show, we were on Zoom and you're telling me about this experience, and I went to my water and I just got distracted and started changing the subject. And I realized in the middle of it, I wasn't being present. I wasn't honoring you. And I felt bad.
And isn't it important? Like, when we think about it, like, I really try to be present, make every intention to be present with people when they're in my space or when I'm in their space. I don't
Well,
want
you did
to
that for me
shut-
this morning. You taught me that this morning.
I don't
not
wanna shut-
not in a teachy way. Just
Right.
what happened.
Yeah, because when you think about it, how does it feel though? Like, think about it. If I were talking to, if somebody's talking to me and I'm on my phone, and so I know when I could tell you how I feel. When I'm talking to someone and they're on their phone, I really feel like what I'm saying just doesn't matter to you. It's not
Disregarded.
important.
I feel disregarded.
So, so then I'm thinking, well, should I continue? Well, maybe, what's the sense? People will say, well, I'm doing this, but I'm listening. No, you're not. You're not listening, because what I
Not
really
fully.
would want you to do is turn the TV off. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Put your phone down. How important is that phone? Is that phone more important than I am? Come on. I am important and you are important, and I want to hear you. I don't want to hear, or see you doing something other than, right? Listening to me or me listening to you, because it's important that we be heard and that we, I don't know, we're moving in such a time where, I don't know, I look at it and I feel so uncomfortable in myself. Like, it's like, oh no, you got to put the phone down, because and I don't want to use the word respect, but maybe that's it. Maybe you're not honoring me. You're not honoring me. You're not respecting me. You're not, you don't have the focus on, or the importance on how it is that I'm feeling or what it is that I'm talking about.
My gosh, Marilyn, this is a huge conversation for a whole nother show about the world we live in and how much we are pulled away from our center core and ourselves and being present. Constantly.
Yeah, I just can't handle it.
As a counselor, like, I'm constantly having to use my phone because people are texting me. Do you have this time? Do you have that time? Here's a little fire I need put out. So I'm always being pulled to that. So I try and make myself have, like, at this time I'll check it. At this time I'll check it.
Right.
Because if
and
I
I'm
don't,
so the opposite
me.
because and I'm so the opposite because I rarely know where my phone is, and I know that I have to get better at this. I do, because sometimes I receive, texts or emails and stuff like that, and I don't get to it right away because, first of all, I don't even know where my phone is, because why?
I think that's not a bad problem to have, Marilyn, honestly. Really.
But it's important, I believe, that when you're in the presence of another, that you honor them, that you honor their presence. That's a beautiful gift. Just think about that. And it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just such a beautiful gift. I will accept gifts like that versus the gift of you being on your, computer or phone or laptop or, just in my presence and we're talking and then you're not focusing or paying attention, because it just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good in my energy.
And to tell you the truth, we started this show talking about the Taurus energy and worth and value. There's nothing more that I value in this world than my time. So if you get my time, which is very, very limited. I am not trying to sound full of myself. My time is so limited, I don't even get enough of my time. And I schedule me in my own book. But if you get my time, that is the most valuable gift I can give you.
Yes, and that's how I feel.
Rare.
I feel the same way. I really do. I feel like, seriously, I'm giving you this time, right, which is precious to me, right? And
you're half here.
And you're not present. So then how are you going to be receiving? It's like, I think that, we have to think about that. I think that moving forward, we all have to, just be a little bit more conscious and aware of how it is that you are interacting with each other. And if you are interacting with each other, because we have to be real, you look, I am a terrific multitasker. But I really believe that, but I really believe that when you are working with someone one-to-one, when you are in the room and it's just you and this other person, or there are other people, but it's your conversation with this person, that you really need to be present.
And
That's
focus. Yeah.
that's just important, because otherwise, why bother? Like, why bother? You know?
Yeah.
You know?
I think
Yeah.
that this is something that's coming up in everybody's world in one way or another. And, I think of those cell phones, and they're like the pacifiers of the grown up millenniums, and it's not going to get better. The technology, the busyness, the Zoom rooms. I mean, if there's anything that COVID taught us, it was to be still, to be put in a situation where you had to change your alternate your world in a way that you hadn't in a long time. And I think there's a lot of people who got that, and there's a lot of people that got more addicted to their phones.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
this is part of that division that I'm talking about. And it's okay. We all have our own lessons, but if I'm going to give you my time, like if I was sitting here the whole time you were talking, Marilyn, trying to think about what I was going to say next and not listening to you, not only is that not respecting you, I mean, you wouldn't know that I was doing that on the radio, but
Well,
you
I
would know
would know.
when you and I, yes, you would know, because we can see each other. People don't know
But
that,
even
though.
if I can't see
But
you, I can still
yes, you would
feel you. I
feel
can
it.
still
You
feel
can
that.
sense it. You
Yes.
can feel the genuine worth and value and the substance beneath it. And that's, again, the whole Taurus playing out in the next 18 months. Worth, value, quality, and being present and being focused. That's why I said I used to be able to
Yeah.
multitask.
Yeah.
You don't want me multitasking anymore,
Now, it's
So,
interesting. Let's talk about this energy that's out here, because it's yeah. I am learning to right now acclimate to it, right? So it's acclimating. So we'll come back
yeah.
and discuss the energies that are present, and they will be still present, right, when this pre-record.
Our show's
Yeah.
airing on the 15th of December.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are going to be playing out well into
Yeah.
2022.
So the energies are going to
So,
be very similar. So, yes.
all
So are
right.
we going to
So
commercial?
our final segment after our break, we're going to come back and talk about acclimating to the energies and the gift of giving.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
Imagine yourself being transported to India, to the banks of the Ganga and an ashram in Rishikesh. Visualize that you are welcome to satsang with an American sannyasi who shares the wisdom of her guru. Your visualization has manifested. Join Sattvi Bhagawati Saraswati for inspiration and transformation every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Coping 19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
With everything going on, there may be times you feel like you can't handle it all. Journaling, meditating, and talking with friends and family can help you feel more grounded and better able to cope. Your kids are also going through a lot of new experiences, and simply talking with them about their feelings can be quite powerful.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
Yeah, 11:42.
Oh, welcome back to the final
Yeah.
segment of Shooting the Shift with Marilyn and Elizabeth. And we've been having a wonky day. It's the day, I guess it's the day post post Taurus, a full moon eclipse. I don't know if you got to see the moon out there. It's probably, we're airing this later, but it was beautiful. And I'm drinking my moonshine. I set my intention and set out my cup. I love to do that. And I can say I'm drinking moonshine, and everybody thinks I'm being bad and getting tipsy, but I'm just drinking in the good affirmations. So, Marilyn, one last story I did want to share is my little Timmy walk again story from Christmas Story, because when I was a little girl, my mother left my dad from the Upper East Side, and I was 4.5, and my brother was a year and a half younger than me. And we moved into a tenement building in Greenwich Village where all the actors and gay people lived. And it was just a different time, right? It was not what was considered the right neighborhood for a single mother with 2 kids. Of course, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. But we did not have a lot of money. I mean, we lived in a tenement building above a commercial laundromat. Never wanted a thing. Never remember feeling like I was deprived of anything. That was my mother's amazement. But I do remember one day I woke up Christmas morning and I had wanted a Sasha doll so bad. And it was this little girl that looked like Dorothy Hamill with her Dorothy Hamill haircut. She had a little jumpsuit on, and I knew we couldn't afford it. And I had told my mom that I wanted one. And I wasn't nagging. I just said it one time and never thought that I would get one. And I remember waking up that morning, and there was my Sasha doll against the wall in front of my bed, and Santa had come. But of course, I knew it was my mother. And I just remember my heart was so full of absolute sheer ecstatic excitement and gratitude that I meant that much that I got that Sasha doll, because I knew it was not an easy thing to pull off.
Yeah.
And I think that's where all my remembering how to give and pay it forward came from, was, all those moments of the kindness and the generosity bestowed on me, even if we didn't have it, and to a degree. So I wanted to share that story because it's such a happy story, and there's a lot of people out there that need one little Sasha doll, that need one little glimmer of hope, just like your mom did for all those kids, and just like my mom did for the vets and a meal. I'm the kind of person, if I see a homeless person, if I know they're a drunk or whatever, I'll go buy them an enchilada and I'll hand it to them. I'll give them a meal, because I'm not going to give them money because I don't know what they're going to spend it on. That may be a judgment on my part, but that's what I do. I buy them a meal, right?
Yeah.
Because here's a meal. This is something you can put in your bones and have some substance, right? It is an extraordinary time, and I think that the more of us that can rise up and embrace our inner little fairy godmother and just give back in the smallest of ways. You can volunteer your time. You don't have to have money. You can also, I'm an organ donor. I know that's a whole big different,
So am I.
but like some people don't, some people want to be married. Some people want their organs. I get it. No judgment. But look, you can have everything I have. I do not care. Take whatever will help somebody when I'm gone. There's a million ways you can give back.
Yeah. And, it's important to set your intention, to always be aware of an opportunity, right? To do something good and to be in service. Really important, right? That we do that. Just set the intention and then flow with that.
Yeah, I think being humble and being grateful automatically makes you want to pay things forward.
Yeah.
And I know I said this to you the other day, but I went through some pretty dark times in my health journey, and I had, every single time I needed someone to show up, an angel showed up. A person showed up. And I always had an angel, earth angel, show up when I needed it the most.
Boy, have I had many of those.
Right?
Right. And I was always
remember them.
thankful and grateful for that.
Yes.
Always. Right. And I always, and I think that that's why I have always, how would I say, and I say maintain my faith, because I believe that through the hardest, darkest times in my life, I have been held. I have been held up. I have been supported, and I think that that is one of the most important gifts, to be held up when you are, collapsing, right? Or when you're thinking things of, you know, um, just falling apart, right? So that I think that is an important thing, and,
Let's
and
talk
I
about
want to.
asking. Let's talk about asking for help, receiving help, and asking. Sometimes, I just want to say really quickly, um, sometimes you're so afraid to ask for something, and sometimes it can
You
be the
might not know
smallest of
how.
things.
You might
You
not
might
even
not
know
know
how.
how, but
Yeah.
sometimes you got to be brave and you got to ask because another thing with the earth angels, I've almost always found when I've asked for help, I never get a no. I might get, and you might get a no now and then, and that's okay. The world's not going to end. Ask
It,
somebody else.
well, it wasn't
But
for you from that person. It wasn't
right,
meant to.
right.
You weren't meant to receive it from that
But
person.
if you don't tell people what you need, you don't allow them the opportunity to give it to you if they
Yes.
want to and can. And I wanted
Yes.
to make sure I got that point
Yeah,
in.
and that's important, right? Because that's a gift both ways, right? Like, let's think about
Yes,
it.
it
Because this is
is.
not just about the gift of us giving out all the time. Because you remember what I talked about, if we're just giving
Yeah.
out, 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 which I think that a lot of people who are listening right now are probably those people, right? I'm going to say that are givers,
Especially this
that
time
are
of year.
givers, right? And all they do is give, give, give. Probably in their, in 365 days, they're givers. And I think that it's important to be able to recognize that when you are that person, you are really out of balance. And it's important to get back into balance so that things can start to move, right, with the energy, right, that is more of a balance for the self, right, and for others as well, right? Because it's always good. I mean, people love to receive. Of course they do. Why not? It's beautiful to receive, but it's also beautiful to be on the other end of that receiving, right? And when I say that, I mean I am the person that gives, 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 gives. But it's nice for me to be on the other end of that, receiving something
Of
too. So
course.
that is an important thing that I think that sometimes people, especially givers, right? They tend to forget that it is a beautiful look. It's like me allowing someone to give me something so that they can receive it, right? Because it's a blessing. When you give me something, you're also receiving a blessing and vice versa. But if I'm always the one giving, well, wait a minute. That person, even though they're receiving the gift, they haven't been able to receive the gift of receiving or giving.
Yeah.
It's so important, right? When you look at it, just think about the balance. I always look for, let's do this in balance, right? So that we
Hmm.
don't, tip over one side or the other, right? Um, you know,
I
giving
would
with
like
no.
to say one of my favorite quotes from Maya Angelou again is when you learn, teach, when you get, give.
Yes.
It's so simple, but it is true because it is, a loop. You receive,
Yeah.
you give, you receive, you give. You can't
Yeah.
have one without the other. Um, yeah, and I also want to say we all have too much damn stuff. Okay? None of us need all this damn stuff. Do you? I don't. I don't need a lot of stuff. I really don't. And the older I get, the more stuff I have junking up my stuff. So I'm all constantly purging. So
Everyone
I
who
am one of
knows
those
me,
people. Yeah,
yes.
I will regift. I will regift.
Yeah.
I will give things away. If you don't want them, that's fine. But you know, it's not about the stuff. I just want to make
No,
sure I get that
no.
out there.
Yeah.
It's about the feeling, not the
It's the
stuff.
time that you give to
The
others that
thoughtfulness.
matters. It's not
Yes.
the physical gift of, unwrap this and let's do that. No. My goodness. just
Adding
spending
to the
20 minutes with
planet
someone,
waste.
right? Yeah, just spending 20 minutes with someone, but really investing. And I changed those words because I don't like spending. I don't like spending. I like to say I invest my time. I invest my time, right? So when I'm giving you my time, I'm investing my time. I'm not spending it, because spending to me sometimes sounds like waste, right? I'm wasting my time. I don't
Right,
know
or
why.
that you've worked so hard to give something up, but
and it
it
doesn't feel
implies
good.
you don't want to.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things I learned that really helped me too was the first time I went to Egypt. It was the first time I'd been in a third world country. And when you go to a third world country, you really see how amazing, how many things you actually have that you take for granted. Like plumbing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like basic needs. And when I was in Egypt, I was with this family, and I told them I liked their rug in the living room. And when we were leaving, my friend drove me there. And when we were leaving, the rug was in my friend's trunk of their car, and the trunk wouldn't shut. And I was like, what? And they're like, well, we're giving you the rug because you loved it. I'm like, I'm not taking this rug from you people. First of all, I got to fly back to America. But it was the generosity.
Yes.
The giving. I mean, the Egyptian people were so gregarious and generous and warm. And, oh, you say you like this? Take it. Someone comes to my house and they love something and I'm not extremely attached to it. Here you go.
Yeah, some cultures do that. Yes, they do. Because it's like, boy, you really are loving this. And so maybe it's asking to go with you. And so maybe it's done with me. And it's time for it to go somewhere else. And, so that's just the belief. Yeah, that's just the way that's the belief that you hold. And so that's how you do it. Because you don't want to, after somebody has said, oh, I love that. I really love that. And then you hold on to it. It's almost like you better let it go. It doesn't belong
it's like
to you
if
anymore.
It's not precious to me, I will give it away.
Yeah,
That's just who I am. Wow. Okay. So let's see. What else? Is there anything else we haven't covered about? I even got the organs in there, Marilyn.
Yeah, I think that
I renewed my license and I made sure that I had it on there. That's why it was on my mind.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's important to remember that there needs to be a balance, that we need to balance, the giving and the receiving, and that it should not be too skewed on one side or the other, right? It shouldn't be out of balance. Because
obligation.
Don't feel obligated to give, because then, you know what? I always go like this. If you feel obligated to give me something, please don't give it to me, because the energy of that you're giving to me is not going to be good. And I don't want to receive that, right? I would rather you not give me anything than to give me something that you feel that you must give me or else, right? Because I can pick up energies very quickly, and it doesn't feel good when someone is giving me something that they really truly didn't feel that they wanted to, right? So just don't give it to me. I'm not needing it. So we're good. We're doing good, right? I think that's important, right? I know that I wanted to talk about the energies, right? Because I'm feeling that I needed to acclimate myself, right? And I was even, contemplating this discussion, because I was going, whoa, this energy that is moving and vibrating around me and through me is needing to kind of, reacclimate, right? Within my body, within my system. So, I don't know how everybody else is receiving this, but it just feels like, actually, I think it was like 4 days ago that I started feeling. I think it was Tuesday or Monday that I started feeling like that. So what I'm saying is, just create a space for yourself where you can sit and you can kind of like go back within to your body and sense how it is that you're feeling, and start from your head and work your way down, all the way down to your toes, right? So that you can rebalance and you can reshift this energy, and that you can be in that beautiful space of receiving. because this energy
and focus and presence, right?
yes,
Focus and presence. For me,
yes,
I do the other way. So for me, I get my whole consciousness in my feet, and then I bring it up through the earth. Right. So that's
okay,
how I get myself centered,
yeah.
because I'm that Gemini rising, I'll fly away in my little wings. Well, Marilyn, we did it again. We've gone through
Yeah,
another show. We're on month number 3. That's kind of exciting here at
it is, isn't
OMTimes.
it? Time is flying.
Yes. And I would like to say that if you'd like to reach out to me or find me, you can find me on Facebook and you can find me on Instagram, Angel with an Edge, and angelwithanedge.com. I am doing long readings for people for the year ahead, and I will talk about that more as we move into the year. And Marilyn, how can people find you if they feel called to reach out to you?
Well, they can reach me by universalsacredmedicine.com. That's my website. I also have a Facebook that they can sign into. It's under Marilyn Maldonado. It is, I would appreciate it if some of you would actually write down maybe the type of topics that you're interested in, so that we can also build from that.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, peace and blessings, everybody.
Thank you all.
my soul sister
Blessings,
Marilyn.
love, and light. Bye.